Hello. My name is Aviv Abramovich. I'm with Checkpoint Product Management. One of the areas that I'm responsible for is small-medium business. And I'd like to tell you a little story about myself before I go into the details. I've been with Checkpoint. Those of you who may have seen the keynotes, I actually visited one of the keynotes quickly, and Itai Greenberg mentioned that I've been with Checkpoint for 24 years. So that's quite a ride. And after you've been with the company for so many years, you get some benefits. One of those benefits, you get to pick. You actually get to pick the things that you're involved in and you deal with. And one of those things that are particularly dear to my heart is small-medium business security. And as I go through this presentation, I'll actually share with you why that is. So we all know that the world is changing and there's a new development happening, move to the cloud. I'm not going to expand on that. We also know that small-medium businesses are continuously being breached, and that breach is getting more and more expensive, day after day, breach after breach. And the more amazing thing that I'd like to share with you is actually these stats. These stats, when I looked at it for the first time, I actually looked at it even back at 2013. But here you have the statistics that are coming from the Data Breach Investigation Report by Verizon. So raise your hand if you are familiar with the Verizon DBIR. Don't be shy, or be shy. Okay, so let me share with you what Verizon DBIR is. It's a report basically created by Verizon. Year after year, they publish it around April, May of every year. In this report, they aggregate actual security incidents, attacks, breaches that they've researched through thousands and tens of thousands of different incidents. So they started doing this a while back, and when they started, they used their own data. But right now, we're at the point that they take data from all the security vendors. So we contribute, Checkpoint contributes to this report. So we provide them with data of breaches that we've seen, why they happened, and they all aggregated into a single report. Very interesting report to read. But I took some stats out of this report. The purple line there, the pink line, sorry, up there, represents the small business. One of the things that they do, they break all the incidents by industry, they break it down by size, and when I look at it by size, I can see that small businesses are getting attacked more, and the attackers are successful. What this line represents is the success rate of an attack on a small business. So think about it for a second. If you're an attacker in 2016, you attack a small business, you add about 83% success rate. That's pretty good odds if you're a gambling man. This is an odd a gambling man likes. When you look at the opposite side, the enterprise side, we're very close to zero. So if you try as an attacker to attack an enterprise company, the likelihood of this attack to be successful is near zero. Sometimes it's 0%, 1%. I think the highest it has been is 2018, 2%. So what we're actually seeing, we're seeing the reason that small businesses are getting attacked more. They're just the low-hanging fruit. And I asked myself, why does this keep happening? This can't be a solution. But there is a silver lining to these statistics. We actually see, if you notice, there's a little bit of a downturn in the success rate. And I actually look at it as in a positive way. I look at it because small businesses are starting to realize there are tools out there. They're starting to realize there are ways they can secure themselves. And let me share with you the ways they can do this with Checkpoint. So we welcome everybody to what we call SMB Freedom. We wanted to create a very, very good experience. So when I looked at why this is happening, I realized there's a few things. First, small businesses need the same security as large businesses. So we want to be sure we give small businesses the highest security possible. Because they are a small business, doesn't mean that the attacker is using small business tools to attack them. Attackers will use the same tools, the same methodologies as they attack large enterprises to attack small businesses. So security must be the same at the same level. The second thing, powerful. We need the protection to be very, very powerful. Why is that? You just heard, those of you who have been in the room for the previous presentation, the SD1 presentation, internet lines are getting faster and faster. When I started, I've talked about 2013 when I took this role. The fast internet line was 10 megabits per second. That was it. And now, it's not that in the distant future. 3 years later, 2016, 2017, 100 megabits internet was considered to be a fast internet link. Right now, we're at 500 and 1 gig is something that's not unheard of. Many countries, many locations get 1 gig internet to their business, and that's only cost them a fraction of the price that it used to. And the last thing we wanted to make sure security is simple. We wanted to keep it simple because if it's simple, then our customers and our partners understand how to implement it. They understand what do they need to configure and how to manage it. So let's talk about a few of these aspects. We were introduced late last year to new platforms. This is the first one. We call this the 1550. Very slim form factor. We've increased the capacity. And that's another interesting story. So Dorit Dor, our VP of products, by the way, you can hear her session later. She kept challenging me. The first time that I took the role, she challenged me. We had back then we called it the 600 series. The top performance was 10 megabits per second if you turn all the performance. And she said, Aviv, I want to challenge you. You are the product manager. Your job is to make this. Give me a product that is 10 times more powerful and costs the same. I said, Dorit, this is not possible. What do you? I'm not a magician. You know, it's cost what it costs, and if you pay more, it will be faster. And I challenged our R&D. And you know what? We actually took the challenge. So we released in 2016 the 700 appliance. The 700 appliance was able to get to 100 megabits per second with all threat prevention turned on. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. But you know what? Dorit called me last year and said, Aviv, I need to challenge you again. Because, come on, no way. I just multiplied by 10. What else do you want? I said, no, not good enough. 100 megabits, it's not fast enough. Now we need to challenge you again. And we took the challenge and I said, you know what, Dorit? We'll try and multiply it again. And we've created a 1550 that has a much higher performance capability. It's nearly 5 times as much. It can get to 450 megabits per second, but more on that later. The other thing we wanted to focus on is the slim design and a very simple look and feel. So we removed all the LEDs, everything, so we kept it super simple, very easy to use, plug and play with zero touch capabilities. This is its bigger brother. It's the 1590, very powerful and very feature rich. We'll talk about some of its features in a bit. Both of these appliances uses 64-bit quad-core ARM-V8, which is the latest and greatest that we can find. As a matter of fact, a lot of the things that we are doing, and I'll talk all about our roadmap in a second, we're actually pushing the envelope in the industry. We are asking some of our providers, some of the vendors that we use their components in this system, we're asking them things that they don't have yet. We keep pushing them. We keep telling them, no, we need more power. We need more capabilities, and I'll talk to you about some of the things that we're adding. One cool thing that we did with this platform, we added an SFP port, which is good for fiber connections, but good for other things. So we will be able to support SFPs that provide you G.fast, if you know what that is, and GPON. So you will have more connectivity capabilities. We've vastly improved the Wi-Fi on it, and now it has a 802.11 AC, Wave 2, 4x4 MIMO. Now, if you take this and compare this to any access point, I'm not talking about a product in the same category that is a security product with an access point. Just take pure access point. you will see that this is at the grade at a professional access point capability, because we know that small businesses are moving everything to be Wi-Fi, wired. There's no more wires, right? Everything is Wi-Fi. This is why a 4x4 MIMO gives us a lot better concurrency, a lot better performance, and we're getting some really good feedback for the customers that are already using it. Let's look at some quick specs. The 1550 is capable, as I mentioned, getting to 450 megabits per second with all the threat prevention turned on. The 1590 can get to 660 megabits per second. We actually believe that we can improve that even further with some software updates that we are planning along the way. You can see the numbers of ports that you have, and one thing is that the 1590 is actually getting really soon. You can actually see it in the tech room. By the way, if you haven't visited the tech room, very interesting. You can see these products in live action. It's actually getting an LTE modem added to it. Another thing that we've invested in is R80. So those of you who are familiar with Checkpoint have probably heard about R80 and all the great security benefits that it brings. We wanted to bring that to the SMB products, and now they're running based on R80, which gives us the benefits of better security, better performance, and a unified policy. So this becomes just another Checkpoint product that you can manage with the same policy, with the same management, whether it's a cloud-based management, whether it's the on-prem based management. And because it's R80, it's got all this good rating by NSS. So we really wanted to bring the same security capabilities that our main organization that works for the enterprise. We want to bring all the nice developments that they're doing, all the technology, all the security AI that we've developed, the CPU level inspection, the threat hunting, all those kind of things, we wanted to bring them to SMB without any compromise. And this was not an easy task. R80 is much bigger and I would say fatter than the previous version. This was a lot of work, but I'm quite proud in our R&D team that they managed to actually pull this off. This gives us the ability to run policy with layers. The ability to connect, this is a screenshot of our central management, so it gives us the ability to connect both large enterprise SMBs and small and large enterprise appliances and small SMB appliances to the same management, and in the same shared policy, configure and control all of them. Another cool thing that we've added is automatic IoT device recognition. As you plug in anything to the appliance, we will automatically detect what that thing is. We will actually take the MAC address that we see, we will run some analysis, we'll take not just the MAC address, other things like HTTP headers, DHCP requests, anything that we can take really from the network, and we'll fingerprint the device. We will actually tell you what this device is, and that is I think the first step that we're doing. In the roadmap, and the next step was actually to build a security policy around this thing. So you could actually take and build a security policy to say, mobile phones get this type of security policy. PlayStation get maybe a different type of security policy that is different than mobile phones. And you won't have to define those different items, IPs, objects in ahead of time. We will just learn them automatically and we'll adapt as we see them. So that means even less configuration to your security and much easier way to use it. Another brilliant thing that we've done, we've added lots of Wi-Fi monitoring capabilities. So very simple. We added the ability to monitor the Wi-Fi signal and strength. What this allows us to understand is sometimes we get a complaint, somebody is not receiving their internet correctly, they're having drops, they feel they have the wrong performance, and sometimes it's the only problem is they're sitting in some kind of dark spot from a Wi-Fi point of view. This system will actually tell you what is the strength of the signal that we're hearing that peer. If we know the strength signal is low, you know that the problem is they're in the wrong location. Maybe you need to relocate your Wi-Fi. The bottom part is the opposite picture. This will actually tell you what other access points we hear around our Wi-Fi, our own Wi-Fi. So how does this help you? Two things. First, because you can see that the neighboring Wi-Fi access points, you know if there's another access point that is transmitting on the same channel. Now, Wi-Fi is like almost like two people talking in the same room. So if any one of you will talk in the same way that I talk, maybe the people close to you can hear you, what you're saying, but somebody else cannot hear you, they might hear me, and we will interfere with each other. So Wi-Fi is exactly the same way. If we're neighbors, we're both transmitting on the same channel, we're going to interrupt each other. Sometimes if everything is close to everything, it's okay, you don't notice it, but many times there are disruptions. And this can actually help you tell you what other channels they are transmitting, so you can adjust your channel. And we will, by the way, there's an automatic channel feature that moves the channel automatically, but another troubleshooting tool. Now, the other thing I actually think this is interesting is from a security perspective. Why is this interesting from a security perspective? Because one of the problems that we have with Wi-Fi is what we call evil twin. So imagine that I know that in your organization, or say Checkpoint, I know that in Checkpoint the Wi-Fi access point name is Checkpoint, and if I'm an attacker, I set one up. If I can figure out what is the password, I bring an access point, and suddenly it's part of Checkpoint. And any computer that is Checkpoint Wi-Fi gets connected to it, and then you go, I did a man-in-the-middle attack. And this can help you identify those things that are, those access points that are potentially imposters to what you're trying to set up. This is one of probably our coolest features yet. This is the Watchtower mobile app. The Watchtower mobile app allows you to very simply in the palm of your hand see what is the security status. This is not just good for the end customers, but this is also good for our partners as well. Because if you're a partner, you have multiple customers, you may not always be next to the screen or the monitor that shows you what is the security status. So you can be at another location, but in the palm of your hand, you can see that you had an event at a customer. What you see here is live events that you can see, or live updates. What is the status, if there is any service required. If there is any attack, or if there is even a new device connected, you actually get push notification. You get push notification to your mobile phone, and you can react. So this screen actually shows you that you can react immediately from your phone. So let's say we alert you that there is a compromised host in your network. Then what do? If you click on that block link, what you can do is simply block that particular host and action immediately and not wait until somebody reacts to it. From a customer perspective, we wanted to achieve is that we wanted our customers to understand the value that they're getting with security. Because the number one problem when I speak to my partners, they said, listen, you guys have a great product, but when I install it, then it blocks everything, and then the customer says nothing happens. Why do I need security? You sold me this piece of equipment, and I didn't need it because I did anything bad. And the point of this application is to show our customers the value that they're getting in security. They need to feel it, they need to understand it, they need to appreciate it, and this is why we have it. We've created some, so those of you who have used it already, that's great. We've created some new interesting features. One such feature is the ability to actually assign a person to a device. So let's say I know that this is Dave uses a phone with a certain MAC address. I assign this phone to Dave. If I see this phone being hacked or doing something weird, I can then use Dave from my contacts, assign it to the device, and when this device is compromised, I can call Dave straight away from the application. So how cool is that? Imagine the process. You figure out that some computer was hacked. Now, the next thing you want to know is you want to talk to that person, saying, do something. All you have to do is click on your on the app, and it will actually already have the contact person in there, and you can call the person and say, Dave, we're seeing something weird on your computer. Probably want to disconnect it from the network. So, and we'll continue to invest in those kind of things. So all of this is already available. what I want to talk next, the next 10 minutes, is to actually talk about what's coming in this year and next year. So we're expanding. We're expanding our capabilities from small businesses to what we call medium businesses. We're going to introduce 2 new platforms. One of them is the 1600 and the other one is the 1800, capable of getting to 2 gigabits per second, full threat prevention, really great performance, probably good up to 500 users organization, and I will give you a few specs about it in a bit. But before we talk about those platforms, we're going to push the envelope. We're going to again go to the bleeding edge, and I can tell you a conversation that I had only maybe 2 weeks ago with our CEO, going in to present the status of the project, and I said, Gil, you know what? We are going to have we're going to release the platform with LTE. This is how we're going to present it, and it's already available. You can see it in the tech room. But Gil said, you know what? I don't want LTE. I want 5G. Now you bring me a product with 5G. I want to be the first to market with the 5G embedded into the product. So we obviously went to our partners and we said, you know what, we want to replace the LTE module that you gave us with a 5G. And they said, sorry, we don't do that yet. We only right now do 5G for mobile phones, and even that's not available yet. But later this year, we are working with our partners. We are working with Sierra Wireless on this one, which is one of the leading vendors with mobile modems. And we are going to create, especially for us, where they're going to work with us and create a 5G-based embedded modem that we can plug into this box. Another interesting example like that is what we call Wi-Fi 6. So right now we're at AC Wave 2, but we're going to actually go to AX, which also names aka Wi-Fi 6. Again, creating a much broader Wi-Fi capabilities with much faster performance and a lot more concurrency and users and clients that we can support. Again, the idea is to create a really good experience for our customers, let them embrace the latest and greatest technology. So I can tell you that what we want to do overall with these products, we want to bring the bleeding edge technology to the market as soon as we can. That's sort of the vision we have. That's the, I would say, the ask from my CEO. He told me personally, that's what I want to do. I want to be the first to market with these kind of technologies. So let's talk about the bigger box a little bit, the 1800. Some really cool features that we added to it. First, it's a full rack unit. It's got a lot of switch ports, so it gives you all the networking capability that you want. One of the first in the industry to actually include a 2.5 and 5 gig wired-based ports. So you can actually use those for 5 gig. You know, many of you may not have the switches yet, but in 2 years' time, I need to build a platform now that will also be relevant, obviously, in 2 to 3 years. So you're actually getting 2 and 5 gig ports. We're adding link aggregation, the ability to take 2 ports together and bind them and create a bigger pipe or redundant internet connection or network connection. We're going to add clustering support. So many of you are familiar with our SMB, our cloud management, but we are actually adding the ability to manage clusters and cluster these units in the SMB and run them as a single product. We added a 10 gig port, 10 gig SFP port. Again, one of the, I think the first products in this category to have a 10 gig embedded SFP ports in addition to the 1 gig ports it already has. And it's gotten redundant power supplies, which I think is really cool. And this product is not going to cost you $20,000. We are aiming for a price that is more or less $5,000 list price, and I think it's something that is very efficient, very cost-effective in its category. SMP, I actually love this tool. One of the key things that we did, by the way, we introduced in the latest series, if you get a 1500 appliance, the SMP license is already included in it, meaning you don't have to ever get an SMP quote ever again. So this is our cloud. So those of you who don't know this is our cloud management system. It's plug and play experience. You can manage it from the cloud. So any 1500 appliance will automatically get a license to be cloud managed. Very cool, very easy to use. But what we are doing on our roadmap for late this year and next year, we're going to integrate this SMB into our Infinity portal. So you heard a lot about our Infinity portal, and you've seen some screenshots today in the keynotes. This thing is getting integrated into that, which means from a single platform, you'll be able to manage not just your network security, but your endpoint, your cloud, and mobile devices, all from a single location, and that's the direction we're heading. So think about the value for your customer. You provide security not only for the network, you provide security for the mobile devices, the endpoint, the cloud, and it's all from a single location. You can manage it all from the single place, and you create a single report that can actually show them what's going on their network. It doesn't matter what the user's been doing on the network or on the mobile or on the cloud. You can get a single report that shows them what everything is going in your network per user, per device, and so on. So to summarize, our focus is to create freedom for our SMB. We focused on 3 key things: on security, adding RAT, better security, use the technology that's been rated by NSS, create a powerful product. We don't want to compromise on on performance because these are SMBs. We know they're on a budget constraint. We know that they're price sensitive. So I want to bring products that have super fast performance at a very, very reasonable price. And simplicity. I think that for this market, simplicity is the key. If it's too complex, they're not going to use it, they're not going to install it. And last, I would actually leave you with this. You can actually test. You can test your security. This is called the CP Check Me in every presentation that I've done. So if this is not your first CPX, you've probably seen this before. But it's a great tool. A great tool that you can demonstrate to your customers the effect of security they have. Even if they don't have security, they don't have checkpoint, you can send them to this link. They run the security scan automatically from the browser. They will show them what they're vulnerable for. So if you are running into discussions with small business customers saying, well, I've got antivirus. Why do I need anything else? Said, you know what? Let's check. Just click on this link. And I guarantee they're a lot less protected than what they're thinking. So great tool. Please use it. It's free. And thank you so much. I invite you to log in. Try it now. We have the demo online. And I invite you again to see all these products in action in our tech room. Thank you.